What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Iowa's offensive coordinator situation. But in a little context, we're going to bring up some history of where Iowa was at pre-Brian Ferentz and then where's they at with Brian Ferentz. To kind of almost compare and contrast the offensive coordinator position under the tenure of Kirk Ferentz. So I have up on the screen Kirk Ferentz's current situation. He's been an Iowa head coach since 1999. And his current record's around 204, 137. It's not the best. It's a good record, but it's not the best record in the NCAA. Had 3 offensive coordinators since his start as head coach. And I wouldn't necessarily blame Kirk 100% of the fault on why Iowa's offense is the way he is. But, hiring family, it can be kind of difficult to navigate that situation. At first, we have Ken O'Keefe here, and 1999 to all the way to 2001. So he's seen the likes of Chuck Long. He's seen the 2009 epic season, 9-0 start. He's seen it all. He's seen different offenses ranging from great to subpar. So Ken has a 96-66 record at Iowa, which is around 59.2%. Isn't telling us the whole story because the first 2 years Kirk and Ken were in the league as offensive coordinator and head coach, their records for those first 2 years was abysmal. I think it was 1-10, 3-9. So it was awful. So let's just change that real fast. We're going to start from 2001 because I just would not give those first 2 years any credit because it was a way start, build up year, try to figure everything out. So I would put Ken at about a 66.2 record when they got the gears rolling. We're not necessarily starting right when they got a 10-2 record. Their first year in 2001 was 7-5. That was their first winning record. That wasn't just abysmal 3-9. Those first 2 years were awful. Ken has been to 10 bowl games. Right below this, we have the rank efficiency of the offense by ESPN. It only starts at 2005, so we can't get the full scope. And I feel if we had the full scope from 2001 to 2011, we would even have a better efficiency rating overall. Just because in 2002, they went 10-2. And then the years following that, so until about 2004, they had over 10 wins. They had a really efficient offense. They had a Heisman candidate quarterback. So I feel these numbers aren't really telling the whole story. The average rating over the course was 46. I feel it could have been a lot lower to the top. Lower the number, the better, because that's just your rank. So in 2007, they had a rank of 95, which is really bad. But, once we get going through this video, you're going to notice that some of these numbers aren't actually as bad as you think. 86 overall in Division I is 2009, which is crazy. And the reason I put it in there is because it was his second worst offensive showing, but they had one of the best records they had in a long time. They started the season out 9-0, and I think right around the 10th game is when Ricky Stanzi got injured by Northwestern, so then their offense just kind of tanked for the next 3 games. But it shouldn't have killed their offense, their score overall that efficiently. But it does tell you that their defense was picking up around 2009 and to get them to win games. Next offensive coordinator was Greg Davis. I don't really remember Greg too often. He really wasn't a big name in Iowa. He was only there for 4 years. His record was around 38-26. That's about 59% efficiency. They went to bowl games every year. His worst year was his first year, which was 94. So it's not even worse than Ken's worst year, which was 96. And then the next year after that was 75. And it just slowly got better as time progressed. I think it was around 50s-ish ranked, which roughly around middle of the pack for FBS schools. So his average was around 63.8, which isn't great, but it's right in the middle. It was a very short tenure. He didn't have tons of time to develop the team. That's starting with freshman year, going to the senior year of college. So he did what he had to do, and he did fairly well, especially taking 4 bowl games. But he was middle of the road kind of offensive coordinator. Now we're at Brian Ferentz. The question is, why is he so hated? Because he has a pretty decent record, and I know what you're saying. Don't even type it in the comments just yet. His defense did help a lot, especially in the last 3 years. It's been a tough road for Brian. Since COVID, something changed. Before COVID, his offense was all right, but it wasn't crazy. It wasn't really good. And then right after COVID, the team got better. They had more wins, but like the offense just tanked. His worst year was last year. The second worst year was the year before that. And then currently we're sitting at 119 in ranking. So we have some of the worst offenses in the league for the last 3 years, counting this year, which is why everyone is clamoring for him to be fired, which I might have a little bias, and I will say, yeah, he should be let go just because he's not getting better. He's actually getting worse over the time. And this doesn't even show any of the other offensive stats. This is just offense efficiency by ESPN and their rank overall in accordance to all the other FBS schools. His average is around 74, which if we just did the last 4 years, it would be probably closer to high 90s, low hundreds. So it's bad. Next, we're going to look at the contract of Brian Ferentz, and the most important thing that everyone likes to talk about when they talk about Iowa football is the contract, and if they're actually going to fire him after not completing the contract of goals. So the contract consists of 325 points. We don't know exactly what that means, if that's 325 points as a team or if that's 325 points as offense, because that is very specific because the defense and special teams like to score. So does 325 points count? So like if you get a touchdown, does the offense only get 6 points, or do they get the full 7 for the field goal after, as well as if the defense scores, et cetera, et cetera? And the win 7 games. I feel like the win 7 games was like a joke because like even last year we had one of the worst offenses in the league and we still went to a bowl game. So like the 7-game wins is just like was just thrown in there just to be there. Like I don't think it's necessarily important. Maybe Iowa could have lost some of the games this year, but like we have a good defense, so like scoring points is hard for other teams. Where do we currently stand in this? Currently, we have scored 146 points, which is about an average per game is like 20.86. And to finish the contract, to achieve the contract's goal, we need to score 29.83. So around 30 points a game for every game, which is hard to do as Iowa needs. We're currently at 6-1 record, so we only need one more win to get to fulfill that 7-win contract. Where does the offensive currently stand in this? And Iowa has only scored 128 points on the offensive side of the ball. Like I said earlier, does the contract explicitly mean points overall as a team or currently as offense? Because as currently with offense, they only have 128 points. So they're going to need a whole lot more points than what they're doing right now, especially the 30-point benchmark, because like field goals and all that, et cetera, et cetera. And currently, they've only scored 15 points against Big Ten teams as a team. That's not just offense, it's all points. Like as a team, they've only scored an average of 15 points against Big Ten opponents. And the rest of the schedule isn't going to be a cakewalk because our offense is pretty bad. And we need to score 30 against these Big Ten teams. We need to double our efficiency. So what does this mean for Brian Ferentz? I think Brian Ferentz needs to either step up his coaching or hand the reins over to somebody else because the Iowa offense is struggling. I think Kirk needs to take the microphone during offense and run the offense. Like, run his offense. Like, Brian does run a variant of Kirk's offense, but he isn't the best to do it. And I think Kirk has, in the past, taken the reins from their offensive coordinator, from their defensive coordinator, put the correct headset on, and started running the offense, play calling as the head coach. And I think Kirk needs to step up and do that. Tenured, point-proven coach, because his son is not doing the job. And as an Iowa fan, I would love to see Iowa score more points. It's crazy to watch other football games and go, man, their offenses are so efficient, so lightning. And you go to Iowa and it's a slow grind. Like I appreciate the Iowa grind and I appreciate watching these slow games, but I do like to see some spectacle. Maybe throw it deep, get some good yards, do all these cool plays. But Iowa is a very formulaic offense, and I think the coaching staff needs to get rid of the offensive coordinator, hire some new talent, maybe bring some new blood and new ideas into the organization to like mix it up. That's going to be it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you want more content like this where we go over different teams' strengths and weaknesses, or even just weird contracts, just like the Brian Ferentz contract. And that's what really had me at the idea to make this video, was looking at the contract, seeing where we are, and then seeing the history. I get to learn a lot about Iowa history, especially the parts that Iowa necessarily wasn't around for within my younger years. But that's going to be it. Peace!